Welcome everyone to this workshop on how to encourage video consumption with Canvas Studio quizzes. Very excited that you're here, whether you're here live or watching the recording. I'm Greg Veier, your distance education coordinator at Cosumnes River College, and I'm very excited to be sharing this content with you. For today's session, I'm going to do an overview of Canvas Studio with quizzes. Of course, we'll have demo time. And then I'm going to end with some takeaways that I think are important for us to understand as we are using this tool. I'm going to start with the problem that video quizzes helps to solve. And I'm going to show you this in my history class that I'm teaching this semester. I use videos. This is an asynchronous online class. So all of my lectures are recorded videos. I have 3 different lecture series. 2 of them are from Crash Course, John Green's American History and Clint Smith's Black American History. And then I recorded some videos myself as well, because I didn't want my students to think that I wasn't teaching the class. And I use Studio for this. And you'll see in my demonstration of why I should be using the techniques that I'm going to be showing today. I'm going to have one of those heal thyself physician moments here. So in my content modules, I have my lectures here. So I'll show you just the view counts for a few of them. This is my course theme lecture. This is a lecture that I recorded on the fall of Cahokia. And I can't see the analysis here because I don't use the insights, or I should say, I don't have comments enabled for my videos because I do discussions for that. But I can access my insights anyway by going to the Studio link in my class. When you select Studio in a Canvas course, by default, the collection, which means the collection of videos, are all the videos that are embedded in the current class. Where we are in the Studio navigation matters a lot, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But in this class here, if I sort by name, and then I think it's on page 3. Nope, it's on page 2. It's called The Rise and Fall of Cahokia. And there it is. So if I view the data for this video and I take a look at insights, I can see that in this class, 41 unique viewers may seem like a lot, but this is a cross-listed class. So I actually have 84 students in the class. So only half my students have actually watched this video. And if I look at the unique viewer count here, I can see that it tails off at the end. That makes sense that, we shouldn't be surprised by that. I can scroll down here a little bit, and I'm not going to show it to you because I want to make sure I don't violate any of my students' privacies, but I can pick an individual student and see whether or not they watched the video, also how long they watched it, and even where they skipped through. So we can get that detail on our students. So I'm in for some humility here. So that was 41 on the very first video in the class. If I go back to my modules page, I think I need to go, this will make it easier for me. Actually, let me go back. I'll just go back into this course collection here. The 3rd video in my series that I did, I think it's this one, Material Culture in Colonial America. So again, there was 41, right, students who actually watched it. Let's see how many watched it this one. Okay, 13. So by module 2, my students had figured out that my videos are perhaps the most exciting. They definitely are not. If you know Clint Smith, definitely John Green and the whole Crash Course team, they have a tremendous production, production value that they put in their videos are really good. I don't think mine are bad, but I can't compete with a full-on professional studio, of course. So this is the problem I'm trying to solve, right? I know that my students aren't watching my videos, and how we solve that is, or one way to solve that is with Studio quizzes. So let me go through the overview. 3 steps for using a Studio video quiz. The first one is, of course, the video has to be in Studio. And as you probably know, you can upload your own videos to Studio. You can also embed videos from either YouTube or Vimeo in that. And the quizzing tool works with whatever the video source is. So it will work with any of those. And then I've got a note there to use the My Library section. When you're adding a quiz to a video, it's important that you access the My Library and not the course collection. And again, I'll show that to you in the demo time. That's the only place where you can edit or create video quizzes. And then create the video quiz. So that's where you do on the video itself. Again, it's important that you create the video quiz before you do the embedding into Canvas. So After you create the video quiz, then you embed the video into Canvas. I suggest creating an assignment, and you'll use the external tool to create the assignment, and Select Studio is the external tool. And the reason I say to create an assignment is that way the points for the video quiz will go in the gradebook. If you just embed the video with a quiz, in a content page or in a discussion, for example, the students, there's no point in them submitting the video. Submitting the quiz. They can watch the video. They'll have to answer the questions, but they don't have to submit basically at the end. And again, so that connects it to the gradebook. And then an important thing to know is that if you create an assignment with a video quiz, you dictate the points for the assignments, and then Canvas automatically divides the points per question, right? It's assignment points divided by questions. So you don't need to worry about adding points to any of those questions. Okay, now I'm ready to do demo time. So here is a course that's empty of video right now. And I don't have any content in the course, actually. I've just got a module. So following my steps, right, the first place I'm going to go is the Studio link in course navigation. And then on the Studio page, by default, I'm at the point of my library, which is a list of all the videos that are embedded within this particular course. I don't have any yet. So I'm going to select the hamburger menu and go up to My Library. I have to be in My Library to do quizzes, to create quizzes, to edit them. I can also remove them from here. And in My Library, I'll see a list of all my videos in Studio anywhere in this Canvas instance. The one that I'm going to use is this video here for the Black Panther Party. So I will not select the View button, but I'm going to select the Atkins menu for this video. So again, to repeat, right, I have to be at My Library. I have to be viewing the list of videos in my library. So I can't view, I can't search for videos. So if I do a search and I look for Black Panther Party, you'll see this video pop up a few times. I've used this in lots of courses. You can't access the quiz from here. So you can't be in search mode, in other words. You have to be in looking at it. So you may have to do some scrolling. I have 12 pages of videos here. So I've obviously added a lot of videos with Studio over time, and I'm perhaps got some cleanup to do. So I'm going to select this one here because I know this one will work. I'm selecting the Atkins menu for this video and then choosing Create Quiz. When I create the quiz, I'm going to say this out loud and then I'll demonstrate this. There are 3 different places where there is a description related to this video and this quiz. So the description, the video itself has a description, right? That's a normal part of Studio videos. If you import a video from YouTube, it will bring in the description from YouTube, and I'll show that to you in this video in particular. So that's one place there's a description. The second place there's a description is on this dialog right here, the description for the quiz. So this is only the quiz itself, and this will overlay on top of the video player when the students are looking at the page in Canvas. And then the third place is the assignment description itself. I'm going to create an assignment, and I will type a description, and then the Studio video will be embedded within the assignment underneath that description. So I'll give you some examples for what I do in all these. The video quiz, I'm going to call a Black Panther Party. And then for the description, here's what I have. Remember to watch the entire video before you submit the quiz. If you add a quiz to a Studio video, the students must watch the entire video before they can submit the quiz. So you could have one question at the very beginning. They would still have to watch the entire video before they submit the quiz. It does not prevent them from grabbing the slider and jumping quickly to the next quiz question. But check out this option here. I can hide the question markers on the timeline for my students. So they're not going to see there's a little question icon that's on the timeline that will show them, aha, at this time point, there's a question. So depending on how deliberative I want to be, right? These are the options I have. So I'll turn this off, and we're also, of course, going to see what all this looks like from a student perspective. So I got the title, I've got the description. The annotations, you can't show the annotations if you choose the quiz option. So I don't even know why this is an option for creating a quiz. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to select Get Started. Let's mute this. And then I'm going to hit play. Hit play. So at any point where I want to add a question, right, I can select it, and then there should be a little button. Where'd my little quiz button go? Oh, there we go. I have to pause the video, and then there's a button to add a quiz question. So I'm ready for this. I've already done this, and I've got 3 questions I want to add using each of the 3 question types. At time point 206, okay, I have a question where I'm asking my students about the intent of the Seoul Students Advisory Council, and this one's going to be multiple answer. And the question stem is, which of the following were goals of the Seoul Students Advisory Council at Merritt College? With the questions that we have, there are only 3 question types. It's multiple choice, multiple answer, or true, false. We can't shuffle questions, so every student's going to get the same question at the same time point. We can shuffle the answers, though. So there's a little option there to shuffle choices. And with multiple answer, each of the correct answers, right, you select that checkbox. So one of the correct answers is develop Black student leadership. Another correct answer is advocate for a more inclusive curriculum. I'm adding a third answer that's also correct, and that is connect the college to the community. And I'm going to have one distractor that's incorrect, and that's elect a Black mayor of Oakland. Unfortunately, I cannot input questions from other places. I can't take my existing quiz in Canvas and then I basically have to retype it. I like to shuffle choices, so I will select that. I have options as well for question feedback. So this is like the other quizzes in Canvas, right? If the student answers a question correct or incorrect, that's great. And it's wonderful for those of us who have the time to, I mean, it really is good to give students feedback, but I don't have the time. So I'm going to select save. I can edit this question, like there's a little edit icon there. And then I'm going to go to the next time point, which is 327. And add another question here. This one's going to be multiple choice. Question stem, in the eyes of the Black Panther Party, what was the relationship between the struggles of Black Americans and Black people worldwide? The correct answer is that it was interconnected, and my distractors disconnected, and one more answer, intermittent. Shuffle choices. I can vary points by answer. I don't like doing this because that will make this particular question potentially worth more than the other questions, right? They're all default 1 point each. And again, the assignment is where the value towards the grade is decided, and Canvas will divide that point by the question. So I like to leave it just 1 point. I don't worry about vary points by answer. Again, I've got the question feedback option. I'll select save. And then my third question is going to be at time point 754. And one more question. This one's going to be true, false. And this is Governor Ronald Reagan opposed the Black Panther Party and used their militant image for his political gain. And that was true. Select save. Okay. So as I'm adding questions, 2 things I want to keep in mind. Number 1 is that my students have to watch the entire the entire video before they can submit their quiz. Also, when students are taking the quiz, right, they're watching the video will stop at this point. Students, the question will pop up on the screen, and the students have an option, they answer the question, of course, and then they have an option to either continue, in which case immediately the video starts, continues playing, or they can rewatch. And if they select the rewatch button, the video will go back to the prior question. So in this example, right, I'm at time code 754. If my students select rewatch, they'll go all the way back to the previous time code, which was 327. I wish that rewatch was, I could choose the rewatch time period, but of course the students can click and drag the slider anyway, because my questions here, right, the answer to this question was given by the narrator in the prior 10 or 20 seconds, whatever it is. Okay. At any time while I'm editing a quiz, I can select the gear icon to go back to the quiz settings. I'll again select save here. And then when I'm done, I'm going to select the done button. And so this video now has a quiz. I'm in the My Library section. I can see the little quiz icon in the upper right-hand corner of the thumbnail that tells me that this video has a quiz. Now that I have a quiz that has been created again on the My Library area of the studio navigation, I can then go into Canvas proper and create an assignment. So in this example, I'll go to my modules page. I've got an empty module that is just waiting for a quiz. and I will add an assignment. So again, it's the assignment will allow it to be connected to the gradebook, and so that students can be awarded, right, for the points that they earn by answering those questions correctly. Select create assignments. I'm going to call this Black Panther Party. And of course, add item. I'll go straight to edit. So here are the things to keep in mind. This description is visible above the video on the page. When I do my videos, in fact, I'll show you in my history class. Let's go to that modules page there and pick one, right? I basically tell my students why they should watch the video. And that's instructional context. Great. So this is basically the same information I would put over here, except I'm going to add a little bit more information. So I've got my first paragraph has, what the video is, why they should watch it, how it will help them learn. And then I add this sentence here because it's a quiz. And I let my students know you must watch the entire video before you can submit the quiz, right? I want them to know that before they get to this page, because I can see how frustrating that would be for them. And then I also let them know you can take the video quiz as many times as you wish. The highest score is kept. Whatever points I assign is what the points will be worth. I had a 3-question quiz, so I'm going to make this 3 points, so I don't have to worry too much about math. The submission type is an external tool. So even though it is a Instructure tool, Canvas Studio, right? It's considered an external tool by Canvas. So these are the steps I have to go through. Select external tool, select the Find button, scroll down until I get to Canvas Studio, click on it. I then have to find the video within my videos here. The navigation defaults to my library. I can search here, but I know that it's the most recent one that I edited. So I'm going to scroll down until I find, there it is, Black Panther Party. I see the quiz icon up there, so I know this is the right one. I hit select. Canvas then asks me, which type of embed do you want? I don't want the standard embed. That's the standard embed, right, where they watch the video and I have the option for comments on it. I want the video quiz embed. Which quiz do I want to embed? Well, you can have multiple quizzes for the same video. So I could take that video and create a quiz for section 1 and a quiz for section 2. Or maybe I have my students watch the video again, right, at the end of the semester and ask them a different set of questions. Those are options that I have. This video only has 1 quiz embedded, so that's the only option that I have. So I select, again, video quiz embed, which quiz I want, and then the embed button. And then I have to select the select button again. And it's important for Canvas Studio that I choose not to load this tool in a new tab. I want it to be on the same page as that description that I typed on this page, right? If I say load this tool in a new tab, which unfortunately is the default, then they'll click on the link, they'll see a button that says you must open this in a new tab. And then that new tab, it has the video and the quiz questions, but it doesn't have the next button, right? It doesn't have the other Canvas navigation things. So I turn off the option to load this tool in a new tab. Allowed attempts, this is for this assignment, but it doesn't matter because within the Canvas Studio quiz, they can take it as many times as they want. So I'm going to leave this as unlimited so that they don't get confused, right? They see there's a limit on top and then they realize that there's a limit, that there's no limit within the Studio thing. And then I have, of course, my usual assignment dates. One thing that's important to know is that if I attach an until date, students cannot watch the video at all after the until date. I've seen in the Canvas community, some instructors have selected, I want my students to take the quiz because, right, for the formative assessments and all that, but I'm concerned about the students not having access to the content after they've completed the assessment. So they'll actually add that video again at a later place in the course to say, hey, here's that video, right, from wherever before. So which we can do. But again, that's just a thing to know. And then if you have a due date for the video, your late policy on the Canvas gradebook will be applied if the student's first attempt is after the due date, right? So in this example here, I have this window between April 1st and May 14th where students can watch the video, they can take the quiz. If their first attempt is within this window, then whatever my automatic late policy that I have in the Canvas gradebook will apply. At this point, I'm going to select Save and Publish, and I'm going to talk about the descriptions. Remember, 3 descriptions, right, for this video. And one is the assignment descriptions, which I typed up there. The other is the quiz description, which you see right here. So this is basically what students will see. There's a couple of variations. And again, we'll see the student preview in just a moment. So I remind my students they have to watch the entire video before they submit the quiz. And then there's the video description itself. So I'm going to use my mouse to navigate within this browser page. And the studio video is within what's called an iframe. And so there's separate navigation within the iframe. And look at how much information is included in the YouTube description. So this is pulled directly from YouTube. I don't want all that. In fact, I don't think I need any of that description. So what I'm going to do is edit the details for this studio video. Of course, I'm not editing YouTube itself. And I'm going to select the description, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And now I'm going to switch to a student view. I'll get a real student's perspective on this so we can see what that looks like. There is the quiz. So the student selects the link right on the modules page. There's only one item in this module, so I don't see the previous or next buttons at the bottom, although I would if there were more than one. The student sees the usual assignment information. There's the due date and points, the description that I created. No details for the video itself, right? Because I deleted those. And then here's that reminder. So student selects get started. This starts the video. So you'll notice that there's no markers on the timeline. So if I try to jump straight to the 8:27, say, oh, I didn't get the quiz. What's it going to say? Let's go to the end and let's just let the video play out. And there we go. You have more questions to answer. Oh, oops, I didn't know there was a quiz. So if I hit resume, it'll take me back to the first question. If you don't have the markers on the timeline, then the student can get to the end and they say, oh, I have to watch the video. They go to answer the questions and it goes back to the first question, right? So maybe not that bad. The students have watched the video and they're like, oh, I should answer some questions. They'll, of course, remember because they go back to they just watched the video. So I will answer this question correctly, and I'll select continue. If I hit the rewatch button, we'll see that on the next quiz. Okay, so let's get this one correct. I'll hit continue, and then I'm going to jump straight to the end and then submit. Okay, so here's what the student sees, right? Submit quiz. They select that button, and then it will say, oh, do you want to retake the quiz or do you want to review the results? If I select results, I'll get my results there, 3 out of 3 points. It's not instantaneous on the Canvas gradebook because you don't see I have a grades icon here yet, but if I select grades, right, it's not yet there. I'll probably have to refresh. It should be there, and there it is. Took a few seconds for that grade to be posted through. I got 3 out of 3. So I'm going to switch next to the app and see what that looks like. So this is the Canvas student app, and this is another student in the same class. And I'll have the student, they've obviously logged in, they've selected the modules page. They're going to select that video. I see a button here to launch external tool. So this is how a student does it on the app. Yeah, it looks like it works. So I'll select it, and I will have this student be a bad student. The student has the option to submit an incomplete quiz and view results. And of course, that student's going to get a 0. Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to refresh this page. I'm in instructor view now, so I can get some of those, some of the data that my students have provided now by taking this quiz. So if I say, take a look at quiz results. Oh, no reports yet, of course, right? Because it's taking so long. There we go. I selected student results, and I see student Gregory Byer got a 0. Eleanor Gamgee, she spent a total of 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Well, I know that that's a 12-minute video, I think. So if I go to Insights, I can see that's the overall, right? You can see the one student watched it for that much. But if I go down here and select the individual students, student Gregory Byer only watched 4% of the video. If I select this student's graph icon, it shows me which sections they watched. And then student Eleanor Gamgee watched more of it. These data showing how much of each video each student have watched have always been available with Canvas Insights, but now we can connect it to quiz results. So let me come back to my slide presentation. I've got a couple more slides, basically. Here are the key takeaways. to remember that students must watch an entire video before submitting the quiz. So you want to let them know that right before they start taking it. That's easy to be frustrated. And they can't watch the video without taking the quiz again. So if they want to rewatch the video, they will pause for them to ask the questions again. The score that counts is the highest score. So their answer to those questions on subsequent attempts, right? If they want to rewatch the video, that won't hurt them at all in terms of the grade book. And that hopefully is a good understanding of why some instructors will actually post the video a second time, right after they've taken the quiz. So that way students can watch it if they want to, and not have to worry about the hassle of answering quiz questions. The score kept is the highest attempts. The number of attempts cannot be limited. And again, the video cannot be watched after the assignment's end date. So moving on to my final slide, which is the thank you for attending. And let's see if there's any additional questions that open up. Please visit the online education support resources websites is linked from the CRC website for help with teaching online and using Canvas, and also links to resources like the recording of this presentation.